Well, we can finally identify some teams based off some week 4 performances, thanks to Kenton Gibbs' reality check that we don't really know these guys until 4 weeks in. Well, maybe we do, maybe we don't, but either way it goes, you got to be the man to beat the man, and Florida State finally did so.
You are Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to today's edition of Locked On ACC. I'm your host, Candace Cooper, joined by Kenton Gibbs of Locked On Wolfpack. Each and every day, you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you download, subscribe to the pod from anywhere you listen, as well as our YouTube pages. We are so appreciative when you stop by our show. Leave a comment. Tell us how much you enjoy us, or tell us how much you don't like us. Either way it goes, we do just fine. So let's talk through today's episode, all the things that are going down today. We have Week 4 recaps, the best games, the struggle bus games, and a little more spice in between. So, coming to the stage, of course, as always, Kenton, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great as always. I'm ready to get into it. I'm ready to talk this week's slate of games because there were some head scratchers. There were some interesting games, and I'm gonna tell you what. Some of the games where one team played like who done it and why actually made for very interesting games. But let's get into it.
These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions do apply. So week 4 brought the best and worst of some of the things. And can you explain to the people why week 4 is really where you start to solidify who teams are?
Because by week 4, almost everybody has at least one conference game under their belt. And we start to see what teams look like generally, not saying that this is a guarantee, but it's very likely by week 4, you've played at least one good team or one team that I consider to be enough to have sort of a measuring stick effect, if you will, to where I can look at you and say, you are this, you are that, or this looks like this looks like that, based upon what I know about your team, based upon how you played up to that point in the season. So that's why week 4 is generally that week for me because, with all due respect, beating Southeastern, Delta Valley, Alabama, Mississippi State, the school, community college is not going to help me say like, hey, I believe in you now. You just be the team that took $100,000 from you to come get their heads beat in. Great job. Like, I'm sorry. That's just not it for me. By week 4, you've played a conference opponent. By week 4, you've generally played at least one team that I'm like, okay, I have an accurate enough picture of what they are to know what you are, or to at least give a guess on what you are based on how you played them.
Sure thing. All right. Well, we're going to give best games, struggle bus games. We don't like to say words. We don't like to say terrible. We're trying to be, nice around here. So let's talk about NC State and Virginia. Started off the weekend of games. Friday Night Lights. NC State went up to Charlottesville, rather, if you're really particular. And, NC State almost tricked it off. Not going to hold anybody. But one thing about Virginia right now is when it comes to costly penalties, mental mistakes, showing their youth, Virginia did just that when it mattered most.
Virginia going to find a way to lose a game, baby. If you're going to know anything in life, it's when Beyonce say on mute, there's going to be somebody in the crowd that screams anyway, and Virginia going to find a way to lose a ball game, okay? Those are two things that, as sure as the sun rises on the east and set on the west, they're going to happen, and that's just the reality here. Virginia had this game in their hands. They had the momentum. They had everything. They converted a 2-point conversion from the 18-yard line.
They did.
They're at home. They're the underdog. You have all the momentum. Every bit of momentum that has ever existed in the world is on your side. All you got to do at that point is accept your touchdown or accept your 2-point conversion and walk off the field. And y'all go to overtime and you probably win this game because y'all are up. You geeked up. You seeing spaceships from Bankhead as opposed to your opponent who is delated and not feeling it anymore. Mm-hmm. But what did they do? A freshman had to be a freshman. Anthony Calandra, whose helmet was pushed up, had taken his helmet completely off and stood there with a Paul Bunyan like Trump pose. Yeah, basically. And that's what got him flagged. That's what got, and I'm not so much of an NC State fan. I can't say, oh man, this team's listen, I know that I got this on today. I promise you it was just a little chilly in my house. That's why. No, I'm joking. But seriously, I can admit Virginia deserved to win this game. Virginia should have won this game. They should have won this game, but they tricked it off last minute.
I think it was the helmet. I think it was also the headbutting from the offensive lineman at the end, which was, just super unnecessary and corny by all get out. Like, why? For a fact you can't do that, especially in front of the ref. Just silly. I think it just shows, to me, still a lack of discipline from this team. They're just all over the place, right? I think that Tony Elliott is still trying to find a way. He's frustrated because he knows that this team can be better than what they are, but they're sort of just giving him the kind of deck that he is frustrated in dealing with. But beyond that, this is a big struggle bus game for me for both ends, right? You're desperate to find a win if you're Virginia. You're going to be crawling to the finish line if you're NC State. Just based on Doran's comments, who was available, who was not, it seems like there's just going to be a very slow pace to get to the end for the Pack.
I'm not exactly sure about that. I think that was more so Doran trying to provide himself and that team with cover for a poor performance. But I'll tell you this, looking around the conference, there's not a true Goliath anymore. There's not a team that everybody looks at. I'm telling you right now, there is not a true Goliath around this conference that everybody's saying they can't beat.
But I damn sure think that NC State ain't in the hunt.
No, they're not in the hunt. No,
okay.
I would agree. I'm not about to sit here. Trust me, they moved down my power ranking significantly with this performance. Don't get me wrong. I'm not about to sit up here and lie to you and say they didn't. But with that being said, there is not a Goliath in this conference that you look at and say like, hey, go ahead and mark that one down as an L right now for any of these teams, for anybody. So with that in mind, for the middle of the pack and better teams, obviously if you're lower on the, you know what you got going on. Let's just be honest. But with that being said, whenever a coach underperforms in that way, whenever a coach has circles coached around him, because why are their players playing in intermediate zones on a 2-point conversion from the 18-yard line? There's only one place the ball can go. It has to go in the end zone. So if you're not rushing the quarterback, you should be in the end zone or at the 5 at furthest. Nobody should be anywhere else, but I digress.
Save it for Locked On Wolfpack. Thank you so much.
I digress. I'm just saying. That was a game in which the Wolfpack let down big time. They let me down big time. I said in the immediate post-game reaction, there's no way I can, in good conscience and faith, pick that team against Louisville, and I stand by it.
I wouldn't pick that team against anybody. I almost cussed on the show, but here we go. All right, let's get to arguably the biggest game of the week. Florida State and Clemson at high noon in Death Valley. You can't picture it better for people of the Clemson. Oh, man, I was about to say the clan, but it's not great for, the times that we're in. But, like the posse, a clan being the posse, you're being dramatic with the face. The Clemson clan, it went with the C, the phonetics of it. So just relax.
The Clemson bunch, the Clemson group, if you will. Yeah.
I guess. So the Seminoles head down to Death Valley. Mm-hmm. They knew what was before them. It's been since 2014 since they beat them. They didn't give their strongest performance. Clemson looked like the better team the entire way, but thanks to Deloach and his honestly game-saving defensive turnover, it really was Florida State that comes out with the victory. And to me, what was also arguably a struggle bus game.
I disagree. I think that was a phenomenal game, but I think that was a game in which I am going to say this definitively, and I need every coach to look at me when I say this. All of you defensive and offensive coordinators in the nation, particularly in the ACC, you all need to be lined up and slapped one by one and then in unison for your aversion to two things. Why do y'all hate running the ball, and why do you all hate too deep coverage so much? Somebody has to explain this to me like I'm a child. I don't get it. It's not making sense. Clemson did an amazing job of stopping the run all day. And so when overtime hits, they stopped the run without bringing the blitz plenty in this game. And so when overtime hits and you have two outside receivers with an average combined height of 6'5" and a half, 164, 167, 6'5" and a half, the average height of the outside receiver. Your starting corner goes down in regulation. And you think in overtime, I know what to do. Single high. Leave both of our corners on an island, despite the fact that Keon Coleman that man is producing more fades than the best barber in Chicago. You understand me? That man, if you want it, he'll line up and give it to you. That deep ball is going to be there every time because the 50-50 with him is an 80-20. And for whatever reason, despite the fact they've stopped the run just fine all day, hey, we need to commit more bodies to the box and leave our corners on an island, despite the fact that one of our best corners is out. What's wrong with y'all? Third and one. Yeah. 3rd and 1 in overtime. Your running backs are averaging over 5 yards per carry. And you go with a option to where your quarterback is throwing a bubble screen?
Real cute. Got too cute for, sometimes you get too big for your britches. And I think Garrett Riley, got a little too big for his britches. And you try to do too much when you could just do simple. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Like, that's just they're foolproof. It never fails.
Again, I could understand this if Clemson was getting stuffed. If Florida State was giving them everything they could ask for and more whenever they tried to run inside zone. They weren't. Maffa's averaging 6 a carry. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
What are we doing? So, Clemson earned that L. They deserved that L. Also, congratulations to Florida State. They showed up. Like you said, Deloach, massive play. Massive. Forcing a fumble and finishing the playoff, brother. That's a big-time play. And finally, they can stop saying that everybody making big-time plays at Florida State is a transfer because Deloach, I believe, is a homegrown talent last time I checked. So more power to him.
Agree there as well. All right, let's talk about LinkedIn jobs. As we mentioned, at the top of the hour for today's episode. These days, every new potential hire can feel like that high stakes where you want to be 100% certain that you have the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. Just go to linkedin.com/lockedoncollege today. Post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And make sure you put that purple hashtag hiring frame on your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring. Simple tools, screening questions, make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills. Again, going to linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. Terms and conditions do apply. We're talking through week 4, best games, struggle bus games. Kenton and I don't agree, but what is new? Syracuse and Army, to me, another struggle bus game because Syracuse, you got it done. But what did it cost you? It took a while to get there. The fact that Army still had a chance in that game is just like, you're better than this, but so glad you're still living to say you're an undefeated team.
I think that this is fairly clear. I told everybody before the game, when you look at that triple option, it tends to give people problems. That was not a joke. That was not a thing that you can say, hey, I'm surprised by that happening. With that being said, Syracuse did come out super flat. They bounced back in the second half. Of course, they showed up and showed out in that second half to take this game over. But boy, when that game first got started, I was worried. I said, now Syracuse, I done picked y'all. I'm rocking with y'all, and y'all not rocking with me. What's going on? But in the end, they pulled it out. Great job by Syracuse. Dino Babers is undefeated. Keep it rolling. Keep it rocking. We've seen this story before, Dino. I believe in you. You can sustain this thing.
Wow, you believe in Dino? That's crazy. For me, you talk about week 4 as all the time identifying teams. To me, it'll be week 7 for Syracuse, right? Like, who are you going to be in the back half of your season? And as you finish and complete, that would tell me whether or not Dino has really made some changes, is going to actively ensure that he keeps himself around for yet another season. Let's talk about Marshall and Virginia Tech. Marshall getting the dub 24-17. And, 17 points, you think you would be excited about that for Virginia Tech, but boy, did they leave so many points on the board. And what was frustrating from Jones and company is just like, there's just 3 steps forward, 10 steps back, 3 and outs. Your defense is doing all they can to keep you in this game. It's a really good Marshall team. And yet it's a struggle bus game for Virginia Tech because when is it going to click? I have not yet seen a complete game from both sides. I've not yet seen something that gives me a vote of confidence that we're moving in the right direction. And it's frustrating to think that Pry is going to be doing this for maybe the next couple of years if he gets the opportunity.
I thought that Brennan Armstrong played a mediocre, mid-average, not good game. And do you know who finished behind him? There were 3 quarterbacks in the conference to finish behind him in QBR this week, and one of them is Mr. Kyron Drones. What's going on, brother? What's going on? What are, I mean this very genuinely. How under God's green earth are we in a situation to where we're missing the most basic of reads?
Yeah.
To where we're missing things where you have the better players. You have players that are finding ways to get open. Where is the eye discipline? Where are we at with that? And also, why are y'all not helping them in terms of the running game? Why is this team not coming through for him in a way that's like, hey, you know what? We know this is a young guy. This is a guy that ain't played much, ain't seen a ton of football, but you know what? We're going to be all right because we're going to show up for him on the ground.
But my thing is like, study long, study wrong, because why is it taking you so long to get that ball out of your hands?
That's fair. That's fair.
Not being the hero. If it ain't there, throw it away. But you over here trying to fight and tooth and nail and crawl. Honey, that ain't it.
I'm right there with you. And again, I'm looking at the rest of Virginia Tech saying, can anybody else please show up for this man? Can anybody else show up for him? Yeah. Outside of Mr. Tootin, can anybody else show up? I understand that you're looking at a situation where Ali Jennings ain't available, obviously your best receiver and all that. I understand that you're looking at a situation where it's getting to that point in the season. Everybody's got injuries. Everybody got this guy not available, that guy not available, this personal reasons, all that stuff. You've got to show up and win this game. You have to. And I knew going into it, they were going to piss down their leg. And
it was a winnable game. Yeah, it was a very winnable game that I know that they're going to want back. They ran out of time, space, and opportunity. But yeah, 60 minutes to figure it out. So there we go. Now, one of the best games of the week to me of week 4 was the 41-7 victory for the Duke Blue Devils. And not just because it was a lopsided victory, but it was because it's a statement victory. Like, Duke is really not going anywhere. And they're not playing it close to teams that they should beat. They are beating teams that people, highly doubted they could win against. And it's just to see them move up in the rankings and be a top 20 program, let alone knocking on 15's door, is pretty incredible considering how much doubt people had for them for going into the season.
Fun fact about Duke's defense. Those boys are real. They are the real deal. No team has scored a touchdown against them when starting from 15 yards or deeper in minus territory. So what does that mean? Plus territory is beyond the 50. So no team has started their drive at the 35, at their own 35 or further back, and scored a touchdown on Duke starters this year. Nobody.
Incredible. Yeah.
The only team that has scored on them in that area was Clemson. I'm sorry, the only team that has scored a touchdown on their starters this year, Clemson. You know how they got it? Calhoun muffed the punt. That's it. That's all. Yeah. I'm telling you, this defense is serious. Shout out to Dwayne Carter. That boy is an animal in the middle of that defense. He sets the tone up front. He makes that thing happen. He is the engine that makes that excellent defensive line go. And it's looking like I'm going to have to pay you some more money at the end of the season, Candace, because those boys are for real and Durham.
Are you ready to say sorry for doubting me or not there yet?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I apologize. You were right. You are. Candace, ladies, gentlemen, gangsters, pimps, friends, stunners, shiners, knower of ball, Candace Cooper. She got me. I got to give her gospel. She got it.
You laughed about Duke repeating this year. That's
I did. And guess what? I got to sit here with my fork and my spoon, or if you went to DPS, your little plastic fork and that little butter knife, and I got to eat my crow. You were right. This is a team that's for real.
That humble pie tastes sweet. Let's talk about Miami and Temple, a game that is forgettable, another 41-7 victory for the Hurricanes. And this is a for real team, best game. Like, this is the Miami program that's, again, to me, flying under the radar because they're not totally the ones that you talk about each and every week. But Tyler Van Dyke and company are just being so consistent with their game. That defense is holding up strong. And it's exciting to see for a program that has been black eye, mirrored around. Are they ever going to get it together? They got it together.
Absolutely. They beat a team that they were supposed to beat handily. They did their job. And I'll say this. If we're going to call Duke a statement game, we kind of got to look at this one in that same light a little bit and say, hey, this team came out and from start to finish, Van Dyke, Restrepo and company did their thing. They did their thing. So at the end of the day, I got to give Miami their credit. big domination. I'm not going to say this is a huge program win or anything like that. But when you look at what's been going on in that program, winning the game that you're supposed to win handily, good job.
1,000% agree. Let's talk about Athletic Brewing right quick. Listen, all you need to know is that from time to time, now is a game changer of the week brought to you by Athletic Brewing Company. Much like any of your favorites here at Locked On ACC, Athletic Brewing has completely changed the non-alcoholic beer game. They make non-alcoholic beers that actually taste good. Athletic Brewing Company has completely changed it by making sure that it is great tasting. And by the way, it just happens to be award-winning and beat out full-strength beers in global competitions. It's a fit for all time, so you can drink them anytime, anywhere, and make any activity even more enjoyable, like watching a big game or even watching a T-ball game. Whatever you want to do, you can have Athletic Brewing with no hangovers. That is the best part. Go to athleticbrewing.com right now, and if you use promo code LOCKEDON, you'll get 15% off your first online order. Near beer, exclusions and conditions apply. This Athletic Brewing Company, fit for all times. Kenton Gibbs here, rocking and rolling through week 4. We are talking about the best and struggle bus games of it. Now that we've identified how good or bad these teams are, best game for Louisville. This is the punch in the mouth you need to put everybody on notice that when you come into Louisville, Kentucky, you better come with it. When Louisville goes on the road, they're ready for you. 56 against a solid, halfway decent ACC opponent, right? And then you have Boston College with 28 points on the day and struggle Busford. Hafley said they came prepared. Hafley said that they were ready to do it. The game plan, was all ready to execute, and nothing came of it. And he just really is like, I don't know where to go from here. And that probably is the most concerning thing to ever hear from your head coach, right? As you're trying to go through the rest of the season.
I got to say it. Hafley, give us a call, brother. We could use a head coach's touch. We could use a head coach as an analyst on this network. Give us a call. We know you're going to be looking for work soon. And we don't want you to sit destitute. I'm just saying, I know that everybody and their mama want to go be a quality control assistant at Bama, but they can only have about 5 or 6 a year. Give us a call. I'm just saying, Jeff, you listen, you motivate people, you inspire them, you make them have all the good feels. Jeffrey, come on. Locked On is the place for you, brother. Locked On is the place for you.
It's not even the defensive side that he's known for that's doing halfway decent, right? Like you would think, okay, there's one side of the ball that he's just going to show that he's really good at. So when he does go find another job, a defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, or work on a special, group of people. And right now, I can't say that about any of his groups. Yeah. Not one.
Yeah. And they said the offensive line was going to be physical. They said this team going to be nasty. They're going to be some big hogs up front. They're going to make it hard on you. They're going to lean on you. There's no leaning. It's feeling real soft. Teams are not stuck between the rock and the hard place. They're stuck between the marshmallow and cotton candy when they go to see Boston College. Again, Hafley, get on out of there, brother. That head coaching may not be your call, or maybe this just ain't the destination for you. But I got to, again, I'm happy to eat my crow when I got to do so. And I said that this man, if he gives 5 great performances, this team is a serious conference championship contender, maybe even a national championship type team with what I've seen out of – they got some super dudes over there. They got some super dudes over at Louisville. Jack Plummer, come on down. By the way, I know that some fans think that I think Jake is actually his dad. It's a joke, people. It is a joke.
You think that?
Yeah.
Sometimes we're pretty, but we do crack jokes, and we aren't that dumb. So, I need y'all to just go. The grass is right there.
Go touch it. Please. Go touch it.
Quick.
Go touch it. But anywho, no, Mr. Plummer, you showed up. You showed up in this game, and like I said, they need 5 elite performances. Now, did they need you to play elitely against Boston College? Probably not. Okay.
It's a great starter. It's a great starter, right? Good practice for.
Exactly. Great practice for many a game where you're going to need it. You may need it next Friday. You may not. You very well may not. I ain't going to lie to you, player. You very well may not. But they may need you to show up like that next Friday. And guess what? Louisville has plenty of games going forward where if Mr. Plummer wants to make his case, if Mr. Joe R. Jordan, he, again, averaging 10 yards a carry. Insane. Insanity. What type
college could never. Literally.
What type of super back is this man? And I'm not talking about he's averaging 10 yards a carry against Boston College. He's averaging 10 yards a carry on the season, folks. That man is nasty. Okay? Yeah. But with that being said, again, I'm looking at this team and I'm saying to myself, you know, between Joe Hart Jordan, between the receiver that they got that's big time as well, I believe is Thrash, that is a team. They can absolutely get it done. They're looking complete. That defense, Lord knows how much I've talked about this defense and how good they are. This is a team that is serious, okay? They've got big name dudes. They've got Jamari Thrash, Joe R. Jordan, Gelati. They've got a ton of ball players over there, and they took care of business against a bad BC team.
Georgia Tech got tired of us talking junk. Georgia Tech got tired of us being frustrated by their lack of getting it done and said, all right, because Candace picked against us, because the fans picked against us, we're going to go ahead and get this upset popping. Wake Forest, hate it had to be you, but welcome to the party, Georgia Tech.
Let me tell you something. Mr. Brent Key, I don't care who stopped believing in you. I didn't.
Yes,
I knew what type of – excuse me. Who did I pick in this game?
Just because you picked them does not mean you were not doubting them.
So I picked them against the undefeated team coming into this game? Just making sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. All right. Anywho, Brent, I believed in you, big dog. I believed in you. You showed out for me. Okay? Let me tell you something. This Georgia Tech team, Haynes King has got it rolling. He is one of the more dynamic quarterbacks in the nation. I am telling you this right now. That team, this is the game that could be a stepping point or a jumping off point to where they actually want to be. Because so far this season, they've lost games where it's just like they don't have the depth to keep up. But you know what? Sometimes you just need that one game where nobody thinks y'all can win and y'all can do it till all of a sudden it energizes the whole team. But very seriously, Mitch Griffiths, what happened, brother? That was terrible. Mitch, money-making Mitch, what happened?
I mean, the O-line wasn't exactly helping my dog either. So, like, you can't be not too much on Mitch.
Listen, I'm not saying that they did help him, but Lord have mercy. That boy stunk up the joint. If it was at Showtime at the Apollo, the Sandman would have came and swept him off stage. Can we at least agree to that?
Sure.
Can we agree to that?
He had a rough day.
That boy was throwing more picks than the Black Panthers convention in the 70s. I mean, it was just, what's going on?
All right, Mark.
Take care of the ball. Take care of the ball, and you'll be all right. And that just wasn't the case. Like you said, the offensive line didn't help, but he wasn't helping either. I mean, brother, throw it to your guys. Throw it to the guys with the same color jerseys as you. That's where it needs to go.
Struggle bus game for Wake Forest. One of the best games that we've seen so far from Georgia Tech. So happy that was able to get done. Let's end it here with Pitt and UNC. Very much struggle bus game for the Panthers. Hate that Phil Dracovic went down for health reasons, right? And didn't get taken out because he was just stinking up the joint. But give it up for North Carolina, traveling up to Pittsburgh. They've been in some struggle games against another former coastal opponent. They were able to figure out ways to win even when they were down or it was really tight, and just always being able to respond is what's been exciting about North Carolina's offense. But damn it, if the defense just didn't put them in positions where they had to sort of play hero ball at times, I think that UNC would really be one of those programs where you feel scared about. But have they beaten anybody of substance yet? It's not their fault because we didn't know that, the rest of these teams were going to keep stinking, but yeesh.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you this. Drake May finally looked like Drake May. Baby, welcome to the party. Way to show up. Way to do your thing against a Pitt defense that, for all accounts, was supposed to be good. Like, let's be very honest about that. And, yes, it is unfortunate to see Phil Dracovic go down. Yes, he actually did have some fairly decent things rolling with the offense. Like, let's be very honest about this. The offense was not looking terrible when he was in the game. But with that being said, this may just be a snake-bitten year for Pitt. Yeah. This just may be one of those years where it's like, not your year, brother, not your year. With that being said, again, like you said, UNC is a scary team right now. That is a scary team. Not a team that's so good you pencil in a loss. Not that good, but they're scary. They're scary. Most teams in the ACC right now, you got to come ready. You've got to come ready to play because they can run the ball well, and they still got Drake May at quarterback. Despite his struggles at times early in the season, he's still a dude. That's still who he is. And so with that being said, although he and Jack Plummer's stats early in the season, extremely comparable. I mean, they're like neck and neck in almost everything except the rushing stats. So with that being said, I'm looking at this team and saying, this is a scary team. This is a team to look out for going forward.
Let's put up our graphic of the Kenton said, Candace said, and the fans said, just so we all know where we stand right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I am after week 4, which Ken didn't have time to change, but it's fine. We forgive him. Week 4, I was 6-2. Ken was 8-0. Fans were 6-2. Yep. Overall now, I'm 36-11. Kenton is 40-7, tied with the fans at 40-7. So feels good, does it? Go ahead and take your
NC
wins.
State may not be hitting their stride, but I'm hitting my stride, baby. Hey, listen, fans, I'm on your behind. I'm on you, okay?
The fans picked Virginia Tech and Wake Forest, so that was their flub of the week. So we can definitely knock them for that. I will say, though, if you good graphic, here we are, roll that back up maybe towards the end of the week. If you had told me that Clemson and Boston College were fighting for the bottom of the ACC right now, I would have laughed you off stage.
Yeah, I agree.
But a lot of conference play still has yet to be seen for some of these programs. But overall, we'll have power rankings smart based on our standings. But maybe we'll just throw in some of what is actually based on wins and losses we have before us, because it just amazes me how much this is still, as you said earlier in the show, this is a dogfight and nobody is guaranteed a spot right now.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you
spot at the top. Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this. Multiple teams have they've fallen off cliffs, in my opinion. And it's going to be reflected in the power rankings coming up.
Oh, Lord. I cannot wait to hear your power rankings and your thoughts as we confer and then tell the group. And then if you get out of pocket, I'm going to tell them exactly who picked what. So
absolutely. Let's do it.
Let's do it. For Candace Cooper and Kenton Gibbs, we hope you guys have a great start to your week. Until next time.